question and answer session at one of our marriage conferences. Jeff and I, my husband, got a question from a woman who very honestly and bravely confessed that she sometimes picked fights with her husband and pushed him away on purpose, even if it was sort of subconscious. She wanted us to help her understand why she did that and how she could stop. We had to give her a lot of credit because it took courage to ask that, and you could somehow sense that there was a lot of pain behind her question, and probably not just for her, but for her poor, confused husband, too. So for all the confused husbands or boyfriends out there who are wondering the same thing, here is one of the reasons for that dynamic that we learned in our research. My husband Jeff and I learned, as we interviewed and surveyed more than 3,000 women for our book For Men Only, that first of all, if your wife or your girlfriend does this pull you, push you thing, she's not all that unusual. Quite a few women found themselves doing this. But second, and much more important, women aren't doing this to be cruel or to try to play games. It feels like that to you, and it feels like that as a sort of a mean streak to the husbands or the boyfriends, but in most cases, it's really not. Instead, we found in our research that it stems from a secret insecurity that a man doesn't even realize is there in his wife or his girlfriend. It's an inner doubt of whether does he really love me? Would he choose me all over again? So, if a woman secretly wonders, does he love me? And maybe there's been a lot of conflict and that question is really in her heart, she may subconsciously, instinctively try to push him away to see if he loves her enough not to let her. She's basically aching to know that he is willing to stay put and love her and stick in there and not let her go, even at her worst. That said, I've talked to enough men in my research to know that it probably doesn't come across that way. It comes across as game playing or as manipulation or simply point blank confusing. And any man feeling confused or manipulated or unable to figure out how to satisfy her is going to instinctively pull back because he's feeling inadequate, and feeling inadequate is so painful to a man. But guys, realize that when it seems like your wife or your girlfriend is fighting you and you can't even figure out why, the chances are good it's coming from this need to be reassured that you really do love her. Here's a parallel that may help the guys understand this. In For Women Only, the parallel book, I talked to the women about how a man's primary need is to know that his wife is going to unconditionally respect and support him and be on his team, whether he's earned it that day or not. Well, guys, women need to know of your love in the exact same way. Your wife deeply needs to know that your love for her is unconditional, no matter how she's acting. And in her mind, especially if she's feeling insecure about your love, one of the only ways to be reassured of your love is to subconsciously pull away. If you will not let her pull away, and if you will follow, despite being very angry or upset yourself, it sends her a very clear signal of just how much you care about her. For example, if you're in an argument and you're both upset and you mutter you just want to get out of the house for a while, she might say, fine, just go. And she may even throw out some verbal darts that act like fuel on the fire. But if you can resist the temptation to head out the door and instead move towards her, maybe give her a hug, for example, you may see surprise, you may see softening in her manner. She may melt. If you say, you know what, I want to go, I'm furious, but I'm not going to, I love you, and I'm not going until we at least make this right between us, you will have just answered a question very deep in her heart. Does he love me enough to stick around even when I'm being difficult? Men, just try it. This is subconscious for her. I know it seems difficult and very counterintuitive for you, but I think you will find that when you move towards her, her response will be very worth that effort. Every man wants to be his wife's hero. You want to be your wife's hero. You love her. You care about her. And this one thing feels so awkward for you. but it will show her, like almost nothing else, that you are her hero and you do love her.